For those of us who sort of what we see of the quorum of the 12 apostles in the first presidency is mainly at conference and what's on church news. Have you had any specific experiences that we sort of wouldn't be as party to, where you've learned something from them behind this?
When we were called, we were called in 2020, so the whole world had shut down. In fact, the conference where we were sustained, we were told, just bring your immediate family. Then we were told, no, you can't bring your family, just your spouse. And then we were told, you can't bring your spouse, just yourself. And then we were told, no, you can't come. So you'll just be sustained and you'll just be in your homes. Similarly, when we were set apart on the Wednesday after General Conference, they said, you can't bring your family, just bring your spouse. And Elder Cook met us in the lobby of a very empty administration building. And he said, I don't know what's going to happen. He said, maybe we'll separate into different rooms. He said, let's just see what the first presidency says. So when the secretary opened the door to the conference room by President Nelson's office, we were invited in, and President Nelson said, welcome. He said, I wish we could greet you. I wish we could hug you. I wish that we could shake your hands. But since we can't, feel my love. And I felt it. It just filled the whole room. And when he set us apart, he said, I think we're a small enough group, so let's just stay together. And he said, as we set you apart, he said, we don't set your wives apart in this calling, but we know how vital they are to your success. So let's just bring another chair forward and let's have you just hold hands with your wife while we set you apart. And so President Lund, Ahmed Corbett, and I got to sit holding our wives' hands as the first presidency set us apart. Now think about that. Have I ever seen that? Ever in all my years in the church. And yet here was a prophet who is a father of 9 daughters and a prophet who values and recognizes the sisters. He is focused on making sure that their voices are heard. The sisters not only run their organizations, but they also are involved with all the executive councils of the church, the missionary council, the temple, the humanitarian aid, the priesthood and family department. These sisters sit on these councils and they meet regularly with the 12 and they are asked their opinions. It's remarkable to watch. And that is something that I have truly learned to appreciate about President Nelson and all of the brethren. You know, when he enters General Conference and everybody stands up, which I think is the coolest thing in the world today, where people show so little respect for leaders and so little respect for other people. It's just glorious to see an entire conference center stand as the prophet enters the room. But it's interesting. He greets the apostles that he passes, and then he looks up. The sisters sit right behind the pulpit, and he looks up and greets them, usually by name. And he'll smile and say hello, or he'll say, good talk yesterday, or thank you for all you do. And one conference, I was sitting next to Sister Sharon Eubank, and I just kept thinking, come on, President Nelson, one person more, just one person more, just greet me too. No, he didn't greet me, but he greeted all of the sisters, smiled and nodded at them, made eye contact before he took his seat. And I just think that's something that people don't see because his back is to the audience. But that's something that I saw from where I was sitting. And just to see the respect he shows the sisters and how sensitively he treats them. It's just remarkable.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are you meeting with the First Presidency and Apostles regularly? What's your sort of day-to-day schedule? As I know Elder Bednar, sorry to interject, but Elder Bednar put a social media post out recently, and it was very popular, and we were all talking about what an interesting insight it was, as he did a day in the life of Elder Bednar, and he took us around all of his meetings. And so that comes from me wanting to ask you about that, because I'm interested.
Did he take you on his exercise routine?
No, he didn't take us on that.
His exercise routine is pretty intense, and so next time he does a post, he'll have to take you exercising with him. But the Young Men Presidency does have the opportunity to meet with the First Presidency at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. But the Quorum of the 12 has a meeting every Wednesday in which we are invited to attend, sometimes in person, sometimes in via Zoom, during which they talk about issues that will have to do with the young men sometimes. And so it's a blessing to be there. It's a blessing to watch and listen to the advice that's given and the problems that are addressed. But as I said, it's fascinating because I don't know that I've ever been asked to share my opinion in that meeting. I am one of many men in the room, but President Ballard always says, Sister Corden, what do you think about this? Sister Johnson, Sister Porter, Sister Freeman, we need your input on this. And it's so beautiful to see that these sisters train with the apostles. We have the chance to meet with them, but many of the apostles will take sisters with them when they are doing their trainings. And I think it's pretty amazing to see an apostle inviting a sister to come and train with him. Similarly, just last night, I did a training with Sister Runya of the Young Women Presidency, and we stood side by side at that microphone for an hour and a half. And I just think this kind of model is something that bishops and Relief Society presidents, young women presidents can all learn from. Stake young men presidents, stake young women presidents, to be able to be working together, counseling together